tasty heavyweight encounter over in Group B. Next up, over in Copa America, as Ecuador take on Venezuela. Are Ecuador contenders for the title? We're going to get into it next. That's right, folks, once again with another video. Today we're previewing Group B encounter between Ecuador and Venezuela, our true heavyweight South American encounter over in the Copa America. And we'll get to it in a second. If you're new where you've been, smash your subscribe button. Your one-stop shop for Copa America is right here under one roof. Looking forward to this one because Ecuador were decent out in Qatar, and this is my first real glimpse at them since that tournament a couple of years ago now. Can they, of course, they bounce back and make it through to the last 8 in this one? Well, of course, they've got to get off to the perfect start. We'll get into it in just a second. Of course, big shout out to the VIPs, the patrons. You know who you are. Smash the like, guys. We're looking for 50 likes on these previews. Can you do it? Let me know down below, of course. Let's get into it then and have a look at this team, Ecuador. Have been here 29 times in the Copa America. In the past, they have finished 4th, which is their best ever performance back in 59 and 1993. The manager at the moment, Felix Sanchez Bass, with the star man, Moses Caicedo in midfield, pulling the strings, of course. Key man. They are in Group B, of course, with odds of 8-5 to win the group. To qualify, 11-4 on. Of course, top 2 you go through. To win the whole thing, 16-1. And right now, I'll have a quick glance at that. They're on the outside looking in. Of course, the heavyweights are going to be your Argentina and your Brazil. But outside that, Ecuador are in the top 6, or just outside the top 6, 16-1 to win it. And semi-final predictions, mine, going bold with this Ecuador side. I'm putting a lot of faith in them because I thought they were quality in World Cup, just a little bit hard done by. And this group is favourable, especially if they win this group. They're likely to get a second place team over in Group A, I think. And when you look at that, you know, you're looking at Chile, perhaps something like that. Anyway, they are currently ranked 31 in the world according to FIFA. This is their resume. Of course, they played that friendly against Honduras. We'll talk more about it in a minute. They're taking on Venezuela now on the 22nd of June before taking on Jamaica on the 26th of June and completing the trio against Mexico on the 30th of June. So let's take a look at the personnel then for Ecuador, with the likes of at the back there, we've got Piero Hincapié, in midfield, likes of John Yeboah, we've got Kennedy Pass, and of course up top, Erna Valencia, still captains the side, still playing, and still integral part of this nation. Let's take a look then, shall we, at my starting 11 for Ecuador. We're going to go with a 4-2-3-1 formation with Hernan Galindez between the sticks. Piero Hincapié at the back there, William Pacho, Felix Torres, Angela Placido, make up a back four with João Ortiz, Moses Caicedo, Alan Minda, Kennedy Paz, Alan Franco, of course, and Erna Valencia leading the charge. That's my 11. What about, of course, their opposition then? Of course, it is not Valencia, it's Venezuela. That's right. Let's take a look at Venezuela. Of course, coming at you 19 times in the past. They were 4th back in 2011. Those days seem long ago. Of course, Fernando Bastia, of course, for the manager at the moment, with Yangel Herrera, the star man as well. Group B, of course, is the venue with 11-2 odds to win the group, 13-8 to qualify. To win the whole thing, 66-1. Those odds remain. They're currently, my expectation for Venezuela is a group stage exit. They are currently ranked 54th according to FIFA, and they've been on a bit of a downward spiral over in South America for a little bit of time. Let's take a look at the resume. Of course, they did play Guatemala, of course, with a 0-0 draw there, and I think goals are a problem. And they've taken on Ecuador in the first match before taking on Mexico in the second, June 26th. They'll complete the trio against Jamaica on June the 30th. That game could be vital for the Reggae Boys. It could even be vital for Venezuela if they were to nick a point in one of these two games. You need to get something out of the games here. Let's take a look at, of course, the personnel. Thomas Rincon there. We got Jefferson Sotelo, Yango Herrera, we mentioned already. And of course, Salomon Rondon, again, another legendary striker, up top still pulling the strings or scoring the goals for Venezuela. Let's try and pick a starting 11 then for Venezuela. I did opt for a 4-4-2 old school with Rafael Romo between the sticks. We've got Miguel Navarro, left back Wilker Angel, Jordan Asado, and Alexander Gonzalez making up a back four. We've got Rincon, Herrera, Martinez, and Bello in the midfield with Sotelo and Rondon up top. Not the most versed in Venezuelan football, but I'm hoping I did okay with a starting 11. That's my pick. What about, of course, the match itself then? then shall we take a long hard look at it coming out of the Levi Stadium on the 22nd of June. It's Ecuador, it's Venezuela, and of course they have played each other 17 times since 2003. 6 wins apiece, 5 draws as well. Ecuador just 1 defeat in the last 6 matches, 67% form for them at the moment. Meanwhile, Venezuela on 42% form for them, heading into this without a win in the last 5 matches, of course. The most recent match between these two sides was back in November 2023, and it was a 0-0 draw in Venezuela. In fact, it's been quite tight between these two sides over the last 6, with 1 win apiece and 4 draws. It's so tight, but can that all change, of course, heading into this one? The build-up for this tournament, with Ecuador picking up a couple of wins on their resume. In fact, they played 3 matches in the build-up to this, losing to Argentina, picking up a win against Bolivia, and a win against Honduras. Meanwhile, Venezuela, no preparation matches. Their most recent match was that game against Guatemala way back in March, so maybe a little bit rusty coming into this one. The bookies, though, they do go in favour of Ecuador, 6-5 on for the victory, 10-3 is your Venezuela, 12-5 is the draw here. The public vote also back in Ecuador on this one. 73% of the vote, 20% going in favour of Venezuela, and the draw is just at 7%. What about me? Now, I've already talked about my hopes and dreams and expectations for Ecuador. I do think they're a savvy little team that are going under the radar just a little bit. Of course, a lot of focus on Argentina, a lot of focus perhaps on Brazil, and maybe the likes of Mexico and the United States and Uruguay. I think Uruguay also flattering to deceive and could be a very good team in this competition. But Ecuador, for me, are my little dark horse that are going to kind of cause a problem. And again, opting for a semi-final shockaroony. I'm going big, I'm going bold, I'm going with a 2-1 win. That's right for Ecuador, giving Venezuela a little glimmer of hope, because when you look back at the most recent run of games, it's been tight, fine margins on this one. And Venezuela are going to come into this game thinking if they can grind out a result, a draw in this opening game, then the chances are looking more favourable to cause a surprise and maybe be in that top 2 at the end of this qualification phase themselves, because they'll just look at the Jamaica game as a must-win, getting 4 points, and then you never know. You might even squeak a draw against Mexico. So it's going to be tight, but I think Ecuador will have too much class, too much quality, and ultimately get the job done. Get the job done, put themselves in command of this group, with, of course, Mexico and Jamaica also clashing in the same match day. So going to go with a 2-1 win for Ecuador. Am I right? Am I wrong? Let me know down below. Of course, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this. Do you think Ecuador can go the distance? I think there could be a little bit of a sneaky dark horse to go all the way. That's, of course, my expectations. Be sure to subscribe, smash the like. I'll see you soon for the next one. But until then, we are done.